You're locked into SupaTV. Only on OpenView, channel 150.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the week that was. My name is Mokhomutsi. I go by the name Mo, and I'll be the one taking you through some of the stories that happened this week with the Daily Sun. Now, I'm joined by the head of news from the Daily Sun, Mr. Amos Mananyetso, who's going to be taking us through some of the stories. It's a very tough week because a lot of sad things did take place. But Amos, how are you doing today?
I'm alright, how's it, Mo?
Geshab. How was your week so far?
My week was okay. I guess under the circumstances, we survived. We are here. We gave people their news, and they seem to be happy.
All right, now let's go through the stories. The first one, it starts off on a very sad note because this one was all over social media, and that's the shock loss of Nelly losing her life in Cape Town this weekend. Take us through the story.
Yeah, man. Very sad, especially if you consider her age. I'm not saying that Bumagogo or Umdala should die, but if you're going to have a 22-year-old with so much potential ahead of them and the future looking bright, and then, especially in the manner that which she died, it's just, sad. And I think fast forward to today at the funeral where the service was taking place, Kodeben International Convention Center. The father made a speech or wrote a speech or letter, which was read by somebody else, one of his friends, Sandile Zungu. Very interesting because he said, no, I don't want to hear this thing where my child was suicidal or depressed or anything. We as a country, as Mzansi, we need to face the reality that there's a problem out there, socially, and our kids are abusing alcohol, also an element of drugs, somewhere in between. So, it's something like that. I don't know what he meant by that exactly, but you can only imagine.
Yeah, because when we first heard of the incident, the first thing I thought to myself was maybe it's drug-related issues that may have caused this. But a lot of people had so many things to say in terms of so much coverage on social media. Some are saying it's drugs, some are saying she was suicidal. The story is plentiful, but at the end of the day, the underlying issue is that a family lost a daughter, someone lost their sister, and that's a sad part of the story. But let's move on to the next story, where this prophet says he's being terrorized by Tokoloshi.
Yeah, it's an extremely interesting one because normally, we hear of ordinary people being terrorized by things at night and so on and so forth. But this one is a prophet who boasts about healing people and praying for people and helping people. And he says he helped about 3-4 members of his congregation.
Yeah.
We spoke to them. They say, yes, we were having, or I was having a problem like this. And then the bishop made it disappear.
Yeah.
Those testimonies, all of them say, no. This man is a good man. He knows what he's doing. He prayed for this thing to disappear. Okay, sharp. Now, the problem is that this thing, so when he prays for it from one congregant, it jumps onto the next.
Really?
So it did this with about 3-4 congregants, like I say. And then eventually, when he thought he had solved the whole problem, it got into him.
Yeah.
So he says he's been going to the veld or to the river to pray every morning so that he can get this thing off his shoulders, but it wouldn't go away. It's still a problem that he's still battling with, unfortunately. But I found that very interesting.
So basically, into the Black Man Party, le kora rapela ka mo ya kara, asora kara ya kara. Because when I read the story, I read it a couple of times. Why is this thing moving around? And also now, and he's having difficulty in law. Let's move on to the next story. This one was very sad. I mean, it's one that also started off, it kicked off the week. I mean, when you talk about this young student, Popo, who died after being bullied, it was a very sad story, but it did raise alarms in terms of what's happening in high school right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's terrible. You know, these are some of the things we have to go through. We're not more, as we put the paper together to relay the news to our readers on an everyday basis. Sometimes it's very depressing. I mean, this kid was 16, 15, Lufuno, and the school that she comes from has been one of the best performing schools, by the way, in as far as their matric results are concerned over the past few years. So, you know, it's just that contrast from the norm to this, which is very sad. You know, after watching the video, because we saw the video, I think on the day that it happened or a day later, and then a few hours later you hear that this kid taken her own life. It's just depressing. It's so surreal. You just don't know what to do, because even though you've never met this kid, but you feel like you know her because you've just seen her on the video or in the video going through one of the most traumatic things that anyone can go through, you know, because abuse or bullying, whether it's physical or otherwise, will always leave the same mark in the person that is suffering from such a thing. So yeah, it's very sad. I just don't know what to say.
Because the saddest thing about when you listen to the story, I mean, first and foremost, as a parent having to send my child to school after seeing that whole situation, I also get worried about my child being bullied. And it's not a Limpopo problem only, it's a nationwide problem. I mean, when you've read the story, as a parent, how do you then let your child school along, not knowing if she's going to get bullied? Because there's some allegations, people are speaking and saying that she might have been bullied on Facebook before the incident took place, a video, and also the video went viral as well. So how does a parent then let their child go to school, knowing that these things could possibly happen to their child?
Bullying is real, and bullying is a problem. So I think we as parents, you know, have to play a role either way. So just try and know what's going on in your child's life, whether you know they are being bullied or even if they are the bully. And sometimes the reason why children turn into bullies is not because of their own choices. It comes from somewhere. So let's try and understand our kids. They will be able to minimize some of these problems.
All right, I just have one more question for you. Have the police confirmed any arrests or any forms of discipline about the whole situation? Because this could be a murder case.
Well, that debate has also been ongoing, but technically speaking, from a legal point of view, no one can be charged with murder. Yes, the bully was arrested, but only on charges of assault, because that is what at least the video proved. So, which is unfortunate. And also she's underage, so you can imagine, I mean, at the very best, she'll just be sent back to the care of her parents. So yeah, but it's also not about punishing her. It's about what made her, you know, to be what she is today, and try to reverse that and deal with that psychologically.
It's a sad story. I was telling someone that it's not just a story of someone who killed themselves, but two parents have lost their children, because the other one who believes Orwanai is an angel, is perfect, only to find out that when I was bullying another child, they're both losing their children. I mean, if your child goes to jail and then Bamu charge an assault about 2 years, maybe because there's juvenile as well, you're losing your child at the end of the day. So two parents may have lost their children at this incident. So now let's move on. Ribuya this Mandela look like, hey, Brahmo, so that's this one. I got excited when I'm on Facebook. Mandela lookalike speaks up. What was he saying?
Hey, you know, and the story has since grown legs. But anyway, let's deal with the original story. So we saw this video circulating on Facebook or social media, as it were, And then we thought, no, you know what? Let's go beyond what we are seeing, what we are hearing on social media, and go look for this Madala because he really looks like the late
Madiba.
Yeah. So yeah, 2-3 days, and then a bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, so we located him to Northwest,
Yeah.
small village there. I think it's Mawoloka or something. And
Yeah.
then we spoke to him, and I mean the sad part about it, this gentleman, his surname, I think he uses the surname Krina.
Yeah, cleaner, yeah.
Yeah, he says he actually doesn't know his origins or who his father was and how he ended up in Northwest. Yada yada yada. You know the story of most of us out there.
Yeah.
In terms of our origins and so on and so forth. So, and he says, please help me to trace the origins of where I come from and so on and so forth. I'm not saying I'm a Madiba, but I don't know who am I, and I wouldn't be surprised if I am one of the Mandelas, because people everywhere, they are saying I look like the old man or the late old man. So yeah, and it's a story like that, which I think at first, obviously, it looked hilarious on social media, but when you speak to the guy, he's hating inside.
Yeah, no, I love when I first saw him, I thought to myself, maybe le o tla tswa bua Xhosa ka butla se bua Setswana se tlhapileng a re no nka re ka ilo gata kwa le go qunu go ba utlo ramme vele ke ba go gae. It's very hilarious when you look at the man and you think to yourself, already know this sort of man is now related to this Xhosa. You understand? So I'm very interested to see how it then pans out. So from what I read in the story, he did say that they've traveled a lot. I mean, he lived Kofanda Pale at some point. He lived around Koboval there. Then he moved to the Sagumafiki, go Northwest. So he traveled a lot. But isn't it a sad story that at his age, still, how is it time again?
Yeah, sure. And I hope it will end in smiles once, he finds out what's going on. But like I say, the story has since grown some legs, because one of Nelson Mandela's grandchildren, posted on social media to say people must stop taking here about the story and this old man. Leave me alone. My family is more messed up than you guys think. Blah blah blah. It's like, hectic stuff.
And it's another chapter, that one ish. Let's move on. Let's talk about the bottle dancer. You guys said he spoke up. So what did he have to say? Because I saw that whole video was trending about Lepala. He was killing two birds with one stone there.
Hey, right, Rotman. Obviously, because people were like wondering, who is this guy? And some people on social media were also asking, Yeah, I mean, the guy is 47, as we found out when we were chatting to him.
Yeah.
And, I mean, what is interesting also is that he says, no, leave me alone. I don't care. I'm the happiest at this place in Devon. What I'm doing, I know what I'm doing, and I'm happy. I don't care what people say. When I go there to let my troubles, behind me, and so on and so forth. So the guy is having fun, basically, and he says there's nothing wrong and no one should judge me.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that he was saying that he won't even let the church limit his happiness. Sunday, Saturday, Friday, let's go because I'm living my best life, and he's truly living his best life.
No, true. Because what makes you happy is from what makes me happy, and I think as a society we need to be accommodative towards one another. As long as no one is committing a crime, the guy is having a time of his life.
Yeah, okay, let's move on to the last story before we go on to the You Speak. This story is all about the sadness around Dr. Cindy van Zyl passing. Do you have any facts for us about that story?
Yes, man. It's obviously a sad story.
Yeah.
Dr. Cindy van Zyl was just not a medical doctor, but she was a humanitarian. She was an activist. She was a community leader. She was a community worker. So you name them. She gave her life actually community work. She never enjoyed time with her own family. She just gave her life, and I think she had explained it a few years ago why she was doing what she was doing, because she says when she was 19, life was in danger, and it was up to a nurse and a doctor at the hospital where her parents had taken her to for help or for medical help, and those two medical professionals, almost had her life in their hands, because they then whether to save her life or not, and they decided to save her life, and as a result, she immediately registered for medical school after that to become a doctor, and she's always been doing things. Unlike a lot of doctors that we know who are living the life and so on and so forth, hers was just to help people. It was never about the money or the prestige. Came with it, and she did say that, if you go into medicine, you must love people.
Yes.
If you don't love people, don't go into medicine, because then you are going to do the wrong things, or you are going into the wrong person. So may her soul rest in peace. I think at 47 she did things that when you hear about them, you'd actually think that she was 60 when she
I think it's a life well lived, and an example to those that are coming behind her, that sometimes these professions are not only about the money. It's not about the flashy cars, the flashy houses. It's about the love for people. I mean, you look at our education sector, we're always struggling to get teachers, good high school, good primary school. With medicine as well, there's hospitals that need doctors, but we have professionals that are graduating every year. And it's all about the love for people, the love for community, the love for everyone around you. And that is a legacy that she leaves behind. Now it's time for us to get to the You Speak. The You Speak this week was very interesting to me, Mr Amos, because when I read through it, I thought they were complaining about Bafana and the situation there. But when you read forward, Barry, no, the problem with Bafana, the problem with SAFA is way beyond the organization itself. The problem lies with something that took place way back in 1990, when Chris Hani was killed. So you think that it was a whole different country if Chris Hani was still around?
Look, I think Chris Hani is one of those people that will always serve as our reference point, point of because of what he stood for, because of his principles, because of how he did things at the point that he died. That is why, I would say it's almost the same thing that people would say about Biko. I'm not saying we should compare them, but I'm saying that the manner in which these guys live their lives, the manner in which they fought for their people, the manner in which they espoused their principles and beliefs, gives you an impression that if they were still alive today, we would probably talking a different story, because these were selfish leaders. These were leaders who were about their people. These were leaders who were about the emancipation of everyone in this country, for all, as some say it but don't practice it. So obviously it was the commemoration of his passing since 1993. I mean, this guy fought so much and so hard, and he didn't even vote for that little thing that he fought for all his life. He didn't vote. They killed him a year before the general elections in 1994. So you can imagine, the pain will never go away. Eddie Mpohani is still alive. The children are still alive. Some of us were there, even though we were still young when it happened. We can still vividly remember it. It's one of those days where you have to just sit in a little corner and reflect on the history of our country.
And it's a very iconic man and a very iconic name when you look at South African history. But like you said, he fought so hard, but he didn't get the simple chance to vote,
Yeah.
which is something that is a reality sometimes when you are fighting for a struggle. I mean, the victory is not in being in the victory. Sometimes you just have to be there in spirit. But yet again, we lost the big one there. But let's carry on to Digital Bones and let's see what they have for us this week.
Moses now la from Ereda.
Yeah.
Uthi yena ukhulele ekhabo mama wakhe. Sebenzisa isibongo sika mama. Ngabe kuzofanele ukuthi a-change isibongo athole sika baba wamlahla. Angaba amadlozi akhabo mama ayami azokwazi na ukumprotecta nokumuzwa mayikhuluma nawo.
Uya komuntu weyinyanga afika kuphi umuthi wokuphahla esigangeni. Mawukhuluma esigangeni ukukhuluma nabakobo babo wakho. La obaba wakho angazi naye ukuthi wena uconnected namadlozi yabo bazoza ku from there uyakwazi ukuthi uyaphambili nempilo ngaso lesibongo saka mama angeke usilahle isibongo uyofuna isibongo ngasazi ukuthi sikuphi sakabani siphuma kanjani mara lokusalayo idlozi sespirit bayabona bona ukuthi umntana wethu ulahle umntana kuphi banawe labo la ukho as long as you call them you say I don't know your names kodwa ngiyaqela nisondela kimi ngoba mina ngikwesibongeni sakazibani bani ngikhulele khona ngicela ningincede izinto zami zikwazi ukuphumelela into yenzakala.
Hi, Amos. Every week, Digital Bones are far another curveball. I didn't expect that answer from him because usually I listen about ya home face will change a bit. Will be all time. It's very rare you can get your thing. Just the way TV about then they can help you out. It's very rare get on the same name. Just were you expecting that answer?
Yeah, sure. Look, I don't know, man. That Maluleke is just awesome, I think. And I think if you think about it,
yeah,
the same problem that the reader came with is more or less the same problem that the cleaner, who is commonly known as man, like, is having. So,
yeah.
You know, so these things, more they are everywhere. They are common. And Maluleke, what I like about him is that he doesn't say, "Come to me, I'll give you answers." He gives you the most basic answers that, like I always say, we grew up knowing these answers. It's just that some people ignore them. You know, he says no. It's all a matter of connecting with the spirits and connecting with the ancestors and making sure that you communicate with both sides of the family, and then doing the right things, and then in total with sharp. So I think basically his rallying call is that Ma Africa, let's wake up and go back to our roots.
Yeah, but the thing that I love the most now, if you look at it, I want you to send him Alzheimer. You find that Timer is not using his father's surname. So you're just going to another land or tribe. There is how to be. Which is something that always baffled me. You don't know the lineage of Papa. So then you all falling into this line. But I love that answer. It was a very powerful answer. But Amos, thank you for joining me once again on the week that was. It was a very interesting line of stories. Some sad stories, but yet again, we always have to go through all the stories that make impact on South Africa. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, my brother.
All right. Thank you for joining us at home on the week that was. My name is Mo, and I gotta let you go. But don't forget, next week Friday from 5 p.m., we will be covering the week that was with the Daily Sun once again. Thank you for joining me, and see you again next week.
You are watching Supa TV, Open View, channel 150.